It was 2020. I felt like my home was a time ticking bomb. It was a busy period for a family, and I could feel the weight of a family on my shoulders. And things only began to change after my husband opened up to me during a lunch that we had together. And we had a heart to heart. And he was asking me how I was doing. And he told me that the kids would tense up whenever I was around, and that I had a short fuse and it wouldn't take much for me to just lash out at just anyone. It was painful, it was tough to hear, but deep down I knew it was true, and it was the wake-up call that I needed. I could feel that I was not nice to be around, and even I feel like I don't want to be around myself back then. But it was just such a busy period in our family. We were moving to our second home, and that was it. That was when I broke down and finally told Nick what was really happening. I was stressed beyond my mind with the kids, the schedules, the grocery, cooking, cleaning, and it felt like I'm spinning 100 different plates all at once, and at any moment one plate could slip and everything would come crashing down, and I felt like I was running my home all by myself, and that's on top of building a business. So yes, that was exactly how I felt and what I told him. To be honest, I held on for as long as I could, and I thought I could do it all. Now, on hindsight, I'm glad that we had that conversation. And being around fellow mommies all the time, especially busy moms, I know for a fact that maybe many of you who are currently watching this, you might relate to this. And that's why I'm recording this video, because ever since then, I've taken very intentional, deliberate approach to running my home. And as a result, I've been able to feel like a better mom and have my husband and my children taking responsibilities, and overall feeling freer. Of course, it's not always perfect. The tiger mom in me still appears every now and then, but where I am now in terms of stress and mental load is night and day to where I was back in 2020. And I hope that the 3 personal lessons that I'm about to share with you will be helpful to you if you too recognize that what you're doing right now is not sustainable. So first, you will need to, and I also needed to, was to go through a mindset shift. So firstly, I let go of the way. Let me start by asking you this. Imagine you're at a gym. Would you get upset that you can't lift a heavy weight? Or would you simply just lower the load to one that you know you can manage? You would, of course, lower the load, right? So why would it be any different at home? If you're struggling to manage things, then chances are the problem isn't you. The problem is the amount of weight that you are putting yourself under. And what ends up happening here very often that I see in myself and other moms as well is that we ended up accepting all that load onto ourselves, right? And then the pressure builds up, and then it has to be released somehow, right? And that's when you have your outbursts, you snap at your kids, and then you feel guilty about it, and then the vicious cycles just repeat itself again and again. And unfortunately, it often released in a way that we don't intend it to. So for me, going back to 2020, I used to contain all of this within myself. And maybe I was just waiting for others to notice, right? Let me be the all-sacrificing mom doing it all. And I used to think, hey, if you can see me being busy, why don't you just step up and offer to help? And inevitably, others fail to notice. And then I would start to lose my patience and I'll lash out. Or if they do notice and offer help, hey, can I help? I would be like, nah, it's okay. I'm almost done. I can do it. Right? That passive aggressiveness. Maybe it's just me. I know it's weird. I would refuse their help and then feel that resentment building up within me. Of course, this is not healthy to you, to your family. And funny that now that I say it out loud, it seems so obvious. But sometimes in that hustle and being in the moment, we tend to forget. And there's really only one solution to this. Lift the weight off yourself. Because it's heavy. Sometimes it's too heavy for just one person to carry. You shouldn't be doing it all. And I always say, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. So stop silently expecting things from others, and when you need help, speak up and just speak your mind. Speak to your partner. Let him know that right now things feels too much and you would appreciate support. Just one thing off your shoulder is a lot of help. And that's exactly what I did after I had that conversation with Nick. After he became aware, he might be regretting right now, we started looking for ways to ease the mental load for me. So it started off with him picking up the kids on certain days of the week. Initially, I still had to remind him every day. And because I do that, he relied on me to remind him. What ended up happening is that the mental load was still very much on me. Then I realized, hey, this cannot go on. So after a few months into it, I told him to add those timings into his calendar, and that's it. I was going to stop reminding him. I mean, it took a bit of adjustment on my part to just let go and trust him completely. And after a period of adjustments on me, on him, and also for our kids, to really realize that mommy isn't the only person who could pick them up. Mommy isn't the only person to find things and solve their problems. Now they go to Nick too. And believe me, your family will thank you for it. They would rather help you because they love you. They would rather help you out than to be on the receiving ends of outbursts. At least I like to think so. So keeping it all in is only doing you and your family worse. It's self-sabotaging. I get it. Sometimes maybe, we want to feel needed. We want to notice. We want our effort to be appreciated. And sometimes we even want to deliberately take on more load on ourselves so that then we have the right to be even more frustrated at our family for not doing anything. It's irrational, right? When we're angry, we're mad, sometimes we're not rational. Anyway, my dear fellow mommy, please ask for help when needed. It is not selfish to ask for help. It is strategic. And this tip is all about mindset, really. And once you accepted that you can't do everything, well, the next thing is you are going to have to share the load. So actually being the person who assign responsibilities and set expectations. Because if you don't, no one will. No one's just going to be like, I'm going to do this, right? So as the mom, you need to divide and conquer, so to say. And not only with your partner. And I think children should be involved too in your household. In our household, if you're a member of the family, literally that's what I told my children, you're a member of the family, you have a role and responsibilities. So Lauren, my oldest, she has her own room. So she's in charge of keeping that neat. At least until, we have our weekly cleaner who comes in and they would do the deep cleaning. But she's responsible for that area of the house. So their daily responsibilities includes they need to wash their own lunch boxes when they come home from school. They take turn on dishes every night. And one of them would be setting up the table, and the other one would clean up the table, wipe the tables afterwards. They'll also help me with laundry and so on. Just make sure that you are very explicit and specific with the task, so everyone is very clear on what they need to do, and not only do it, but also remember to do it. They need to remember when it's their turn. So you don't want to be constantly the one nagging them, hey, today is your turn, today is your turn. They need to remember that themselves. Anyways, and now that responsibilities are shared and agreed on, what's the incentive for them? How do you convince the kids to want to do all of this? Well, at our home, for regular tasks such as house chores that someone's been assigned to, there's really no incentive. It is their responsibility to be a part of this house, to be a part of this family. And to be a part of this family, these are the responsibilities that comes with it. However, when I notice that any one of them goes above and beyond, that's when they can get an actual earned reward. And that's what we call family credits. If you want something, let's say an ice cream or a milkshake or a candy, you better be building up your credits. So we have this little tracker on our fridge. It's very simple, something that we just printed out, and where the kids can track their own credit balances themselves. And I hope they haven't been cheating. Kids, if you're watching this, you better admit it now before I find out, all right? But I think they don't. They're very clear and they keep each other in check. But in all seriousness, that's basically how we share the load in the family. Now I feel like my family is a team, right? So it's like having a team and systems in place, just like you would in business. And once again, that's why I believe that being a good entrepreneur actually makes you a better mom, not a worse mom like many people believe. Because there's just so much skills overlap. Now, instead of me, having to remember everything as well, my kids actually walk up to me and remind me about things instead of the other way around. Like Lauren has a netball tournament, she told me last week. I'm just gonna not remembering, and then she will remember. We have the school timetable printed out on the fridge as well. Everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing on each day, like what extracurricular activities do they have, what they're supposed to bring to school, what they're supposed to wear. Is it PE uniform today or the school uniform? Would they need to bring the swimming bag? And it's all on their shoulder, not mine. Because in a way, it's not just about me lifting weight off my shoulder. It's also about building this independence in our children from an early age, right? And having your children lead gives you the freedom to forget, and also gives them a sense of ownership that this is their life too, and that they are leading. And then I believe that when we give them more responsibilities, and even if they forget, of course they make mistakes, they get to learn from it. And by making mistakes and learning and having responsibilities, we are building, or at least grooming, a stronger, more responsible adult. At least that's what I hope. I should say though that one of the big challenge that I initially faced and still face to this day is I sometimes feel bad about sharing the load. Or occasionally, I still feel bad for not being that mom that does it all, right? That we so used to seeing when we grow up, because our mom used to do everything. So sometimes when my husband do a little bit more, right, then I'll feel like, oh no, am I being a bad wife or a mom? Even on my busy days. So I felt like I maybe I should do something, maybe I should help him, even though rationally I know that I shouldn't or I don't have to. Because I feel like, as I've been telling you in this video, I need to still own up. There is still something that I need to learn to let go, and that you may occasionally feel like you need to step in and be productive in order to be a good mom. But guess what? We don't have to. We're there to love our children. We're not there to do house chores. I hope that sinks in. So anyway, a healthy mom, a mentally stable mom is the best mom for the family. But still, I would like to touch on that because it is something that I'm still overcoming, that I may think that maybe you have that challenge as well. And that brings me to the next bigger mental challenge that you face as you start delegating. You will also need to loosen your expectations, because as the saying goes, happiness equals reality minus expectations. So if once you've delegated all these tasks, let's say you expect the dishes to be done as well as you would have done them, then you obviously end up unhappy. So yes, sometimes it might take your children to do 3 plates in half an hour, and in moments like that, right, it's very easy for us to start feeling the temptation of just, we'll do it ourselves, because it's just so much quicker, right, and cleaner. But what are we teaching our children? That they can't do it, that we don't trust them. So resist, because that's exactly what is keeping you stuck. If you continuously just jumping in and rescue everyone, you are going to just go in this cycle and getting into a verge of a breakdown. So if you want your life and your home to run properly without you burning out, you will need to show some patience and self-restraint almost, to just let it go, let it go. I mean, I've wanted to say this for the longest time. I know it's going to be cheesy. Okay, stop. So you need to realize that less perfect outcomes are just natural part of letting go of control. And less control means less influence over the outcome. And in that, we are also teaching our children to get better at it. They will become better at it. You can point it out to them that, hey, look, it's not quite clean over here, and let them do it again rather than jumping in and rescue them. Again, just like in business, when you outsource it to someone, they're likely not going to do something at your desired quality right away. But ultimately, it allows you more freedom. So you need to be prepared to just loosen the grip. So for example, now I'm absolutely okay with leaving the dishes undone overnight. Okay, they don't do it, they forget, mommy, I forget, I got homework, fine, you do it the next day. Or not picking up the toys after them right away, right? Like, I don't care, I can't see it. You pick it up later. I'm absolutely okay with that. And that's exactly what gives me more peace, because I know they will do it eventually, instead of me picking it up, feeling resentful, or chasing them around and getting fed up in the process. And sometimes you may actually be surprised by what they're capable of and what they notice, what they actually do. So give them the chance to impress you. and trust that they will be doing it to their best ability. Don't constantly hover over them like micromanaging. Just let them do it, and if they don't do it so well, then as I mentioned earlier, just point it out to them and let them know they would want to do their best. So this mindset piece is the third 3 key lessons that I've learned that will also be really key as you start to lift the weight of your house off your shoulders. So then you can really have it all. A well-managed home, not constantly clean home, a social life, and a professional life. This is a journey that still serves me new lessons every day, and I suppose it does for all of us moms here. And if you want to know more, and if you want to have more conversations like these with me and fellow moms and other mompreneurs who are doing it all, I would love for you to join us inside our Momentum community on a 7-day trial. I hope that you've enjoyed the video. I'm sending you my love, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.